Protesters around the country were demanding President Trump's tax returns. They had these demonstrations all around the country. At Berkeley, California, it got truly violent. As of this morning, President Trump wants to know who's paying these people, the organizations who paid them. He quotes, here's the quote, "Someone should look into who paid for the small, organized rallies yesterday. The election is over." David Webb joins us now, Sirius XM Patriot host and Fox News contributor.
Morning.
You know what worries me here? This is an escalation of the violence. Not so much who paid, I got that. But This is an escalation of violence. You now see groups of people looking for a fight in our streets. I don't think that's good.
Well, if you think about it, quick track, 2009 Tea Party movement to now, when did you have violent rallies with arrests? There were more arrests in Berkeley than there ever were at a Tea Party rally in the history of the Tea Party. These groups, and I woke a friend of mine up early this morning in California after I got the topic, and I said, what's going on? It's the same groups we expect that are organized, and so you're right, it's not about the money, it's about the violence. The headline says, at a pro-Trump rally, violent protesters arrested. It doesn't separate that it's the people who showed up, who interacted in that park at a rally that was organized and publicized, which is where the violence began. Nobody on the right in the Tea Party movement ever brought sticks, knives, mace. They didn't show up ready for a fight. They showed up to talk about a policy. Other side of this, what are they actually there to protest?
Well, that's what I couldn't understand. All they want is to see President Trump's tax return, and you have protests all across the country. That was clearly organized.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't know the difference. They probably couldn't read the tax return and tell you what it means. And as you've said, earnings statements will tell you more about somebody's wealth and what they do, and that's all out there for them to see. But on the other side of this is just like Occupy Wall Street, just like Organizing for America that Obama built. It is a top-down build. It is a organized structure to disrupt and change the narrative, and it's irrespective of the political process.
I don't think the country is buying this. I don't think the country is that enthused about seeing President Trump's tax returns, but I think they are beginning to turn against violence in the streets by the left, all dressed in black and beating people up.
Well, and by the way, let me say this to the Americans out there. We all have a right to protect ourselves if we're assaulted. That's a verbal assault or otherwise. But when it comes to battery, you have the right to self-defense. And I'm not advocating violence, but I'll tell you that if someone decides to, one, come up and yell at me, I can ignore that. But if you put your hands on me or you put hands on another American, they have the right to self-defense. So these little violent snowflakes and these Black Lives Matter or anarchists or black masked idiots out there, they're going to run into somebody one day who's going to take them down.
Well, I don't welcome that. I don't want to see that.
I don't, but people need to understand something. You have the right to defend yourself, and at no point should you be attacked for exercising your First Amendment right.
Do you think that the level of street violence, as we saw in Berkeley over the weekend, we've not seen that in a generation? I don't think we have, and not since the Vietnam War.
No, we haven't, and again, just even in recent times, Stu, when all the arrests, 20 arrests?
Yep.
There weren't that many arrests at Tea Party rallies where hundreds of thousands and millions over years went out there. It tells you where it comes from, and a lot of the funding comes from the Soros-like open society groups.
You got it. David Webb, as always, thanks very much indeed.
Good to see you.